Excellencies, colleagues, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Greetings from Abu Dhabi and welcome to this Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week discussion on the Agriculture Innovation Mission for Climate, a moment of reflection. I am Hana AlHashimi, head of the UAE's Office of the Special Envoy for Climate Change, and I'm honored to be your moderator today. I'd like to warmly welcome Her Excellency Mariam Almheiri, the UAE's Minister of Climate Change and Environment, and His Excellency Tom Vilsack, the United States Secretary of Agriculture. Delighted to join you both again this past November at COP26 in Glasgow. Over 30 countries and several organizations led by the United States and the United Arab Emirates launched the Agriculture Innovation Mission for Climate, which we fondly refer to as AIM for Climate. And this partnership intends, for those of you who haven't heard of it yet, to significantly increase investment in new agricultural technologies and approaches by 2025 in order to help food producers cope with climate change, as well as reduce the nearly 33% of total global greenhouse gas emissions that food systems generate. In our short time today, we're going to hear about visions for AIM for Climate moving forward, the impact that it's going to have on climate action and ambition of its member states for this year forward. So I'd like to, without further ado, turn to Her Excellency Mariam Almheiri for the first question. Your Excellency, both COP27 and COP28 will be held in the Middle East and North Africa, which is, of course, one of the most arid regions in the world. But it's often a region that's delinked from innovation spending that's often concentrated in OECD countries. How will AIM for Climate help to bring perspectives and solutions from more diverse regions, such as MENA, into the global agricultural innovation efforts?
Thank you so much, Hannah. Thank you so much, Secretary Vilsack, to be here with me. And thank you all for your time here today with us. You know, it's really exciting to see a lot of people will be like, how is this logic? The US, a huge agricultural country, and then the UAE being a small country that actually imports most of its food. Why are they combining efforts to push this movement of AIM for Climate? And the key is that we both have turned to see that innovation and technology is the key for us to be able to meet the SDG goals and also to ensure that we're building climate resilient, smart agricultural systems. So we know that food systems contribute to 1/3 of greenhouse gas emissions, and agriculture is really in the heart of this. And so we really have to, as you said, Hannah, accelerate and increase research and development and all the efforts that we're doing to kind of push the notch even higher and look at what we can do to actually grow food in the climates that we have. And the UAE is already a country that is water scarce, is an arid country. And so it is here that we've seen in the last few years that by implementing technologies and innovations where we've actually seen that we're actually able to grow certain foods sustainably and commercially. And so in partnership with the USA, we came up with AIM for Climate and said, let's join hands, let's get countries on board, let's get non-governmental organizations on board as well to actually push AIM for C because we don't have much time left. And the whole idea about it is really, you know, we want to enhance productivity and sustainability. We want to reduce the carbon footprint of the ag sector. We want to increase livelihood. We want to conserve natural resources and really boost this sector. And so keeping that in mind with technology and innovation being the key, we've basically in the driver's seat, driving this vehicle and getting more and more partners on board. And we're so looking forward to next month having the first face-to-face meeting. It'll be a ministerial meeting where we'll be sort of looking at how the implementation plan is going to look like, what are the innovation sprints that we're going to be focusing on, and really making sure that people understand that this is an all-inclusive initiative, really looking at how we can scale up, how we can accelerate the systems that we have in place now, because we're really looking at transforming our food systems into more sustainable ones. So really exciting stuff coming up, and we're so happy and so honored to have the US with us here as our strategic partner, and moving forward, get anyone else on board who is interested in moving this the agricultural sector forward. So we're really excited about that.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for that note on partnership, transformation and progress. Well, at COP26, Aim for Climate members announced an initial $4 billion of new investment for agricultural innovation, which made, of course, Aim for Climate one of the major announcements at COP26. So some of this funding, as was discussed at the time, will be channeled through what Aim's calling innovation sprints, which look to accelerate the availability of innovative products and services in the market, several of which were launched in Glasgow. My next question is to Secretary Vilsack, because President Biden at COP26 set out a big challenge for AIM members to double the current commitment of $4 billion to $8 billion in increased investment in climate smart agriculture and food systems by COP27. So I'd love to hear from you, Secretary Vilsack, what the Aim for Climate priorities are in 2022 that will enable AIM to meet this challenge.
Well, Hannah, thank you very much, and thanks for the opportunity to be part of this important dialogue and summit. And I want to thank the Minister for her incredible leadership in this effort. The UAE has certainly been a driving force in this effort to try to coalesce nations, knowledge partners, sprint partners across the world to focus on this very significant challenge of making sure that we embrace climate smart agriculture in all of its forms. And as you mentioned, Hannah, the United States is obviously a partner with the UAE and felt compelled to basically make the pledge of establishing at least $1 billion over the next 5 years as a commitment to begin this process, recognizing that we really do need to have significantly greater investment across the board if we're to reach the goals that the minister has outlined in her response. And let me just say that there are a variety of different types of agriculture. There is the conventional and traditional agriculture where precision agriculture and drones and sensors and new seed technologies can be incredibly important in producing more with less. There's vertical agriculture, the opportunity to convert buildings into farms, highly productive, tremendously important in terms of dealing with places like the UAE where there may be water challenges, figuring out creative ways to grow more with less. And then, of course, there's the cell-cultured agriculture that is now just beginning to come to the fore. So there are a multitude of places where innovation can play an integral role and allow agriculture to meet the demands, growing demand for food to meet an ever-increasing world population, despite the fact that there'll be less land, less water, and weather conditions that may not be conducive to production. So that means we have to invest. And so I think Aim for Climate is really designed to raise the awareness of the important role that agriculture can play in climate change, and in doing so, attract more government partners. Why? Because governments have the ability to make public investment. The United States, the UAE, both have pledged $1 billion. That's relatively easy for a government in order to put resources behind this effort. But it's not just government. We've got knowledge partners, universities, NGOs that also have the capacity to attract resources into innovation and to spur and to accelerate innovation. And then we have our sprint partners, and these are folks who have actually made a commitment. 8 sprint partners to date, $194 million pledged to actually with specific research projects in mind. So as we raise awareness, as we encourage more to become involved in this effort, I think you're going to see greater investment, greater interest, and as we begin to talk about some of the innovation that's supported by Aim for C, I think we'll see even more. The key here is to understand and appreciate we have this massive challenge. We have to produce more, but we have to produce it sustainably. And there's just only one way to do that, and that is by innovating our way out of the challenges that we face today. And I'm confident that this effort will lead to a significant innovation, which will allow all of us to do a better job of producing what we need to feed our people and to do it in a safe, secure, and sustainable way.
Thank you, Secretary Vilsack. So I heard certainly a lot of hope in innovation, investment, partnership for achieving our sustainable development goals in the future that we all want. But I also heard actually what sounds like a great economic opportunity, even for our region, where basically we might be able to benefit from the adaptation that we need to make to be able to produce food in an arid region and support the investments in technologies that support the production of food in a more climate scarce world. So that's really exciting. I would love, as we wrap up, as we've all heard about the elevator pitch, of course. So in the few moments we have remaining, it would be great to hear Your Excellency's elevator pitches on why increasing investment in climate smart agriculture and food systems innovation is so important. Secretary Vilsack, if you'd like to go first for this one.
Well, it's my experience you have very tall buildings in the UAE, so you have elevators that go quite a ways. So I may use more than 30 seconds or so to respond to this. Let me start with the point that you made, Hana, which is the economic opportunity here. The economic opportunity here is to convert agriculture from an extraction-forced economy where you produce commodities to a circular economy, where you essentially create new revenue streams for farmers by virtue of what they do with their land in terms of climate. The ability to sequester carbon, the ability to use precision agriculture and conservation practices can actually attract additional revenue. The ability to convert waste product from agricultural production into a variety of chemicals, materials, fabrics, and fibers can also allow us to reduce the carbon footprint, the greenhouse gas impact of agriculture. So I think it's important to understand that while this is a challenge, it is an enormous opportunity. So first and foremost, let's focus on the opportunity side of this challenge. Secondly, look, population's increasing, no doubt about it. We're going to have more food. We're going to have to do it with less land, less water. The climate conditions will not be conducive to growing more. So we have to innovate our way out of this significant challenge. And if we do so, here's the gift. The gift is to our children and grandchildren. A safer, more secure, well-fed, sustainably produced agriculture allows us to basically ensure peace and security around the world. If we think we have difficulties today, if we're fighting over water and food, this is going to be a very, very difficult world for our children and grandkids. So I think it's important for us to focus on the future, and Aim for C is really future oriented.
Thank you very much, Secretary Vilsack, for that encouraging note on the future. So, Your Excellency Almheiri, your Burj Khalifa or Empire State elevator pitch, please.
Yes, okay. I'll take also a few more seconds. As you all know, we announced, the UAE announced the Net Zero by 2050 initiative, and it's really important that you understand that we are global, responsible citizens that look really at global problems and look at solving them in a multilateral way. And it's really important to understand that this initiative is really it's a movement. It's getting everyone on board. It's essential because the food systems needs to be tackled in a much precise and accelerated way. And what's the benefits that we see that this is when we look now just in the UAE in the past few years. I mean, we're growing salmon, we're growing quinoa, we're growing vegetables of high quality, and this is all because of technology and innovation. So it's just amazing to see that a hot, arid country like the UAE has been able to use or adapt to the technologies that are available to be able to grow these foods. And this is what we want to use this platform to actually give others in the region as well that opportunity. And as we move to COP27 here in the region and COP28, I know this is something you asked in the first question, Hana. It's really important that for us, food systems is going to be an important aspect in both of these summits, because we are a region that has had many difficulties in growing at scale, and being able to really adopt and adapt to technology and innovation will be able to grow much more and actually lower the carbon footprint of our food systems and transform to more sustainable ones. So that's my pitch.
Thank you so very much. I heard from both of you sustainable development, looking at even climate security, looking at an economic model of growth, and the future we all want, and really how innovation has a critical role in all of that, and Aim for Climate is driving that forward in the food sector. Unfortunately, we've come to the time for our session. I'd like to very much thank Your Excellencies Mariam, Almheiri and Secretary Tom Vilsack for your time today and insights. Really, with 36 government partners, over 75 non-governmental partners, $4 billion in the first harvest in investments and 8 innovation sprints, the Agriculture Innovation Mission for Climate has an impressive starting point. And the partnership will certainly be working intensively, and we very much look forward to the first ministerial, as Your Excellency mentioned, at the Dubai Expo next month, and to seeing how the partnership develops over the next year and over the years to 2025. As I also very much heard the open call for partners from around the world. This is certainly something that we all benefit from as we work together and learn from different regions and ideas. So thank you all so very much once again, and goodbye from Abu Dhabi.
Thank you. Thank you, Hana. Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Likewise.